your turn to...
Oh, is it for me?
Consider yourself fired.
Why are you winking at me?
Consider yourself fired.
Hello, and welcome to the JT and Drew Show. I'm JT.
And I'm Drew.
And we're two nobodies talking about nothing.
Consider yourself fired.
Hey, welcome to the JT and Drew Show. Today is our pilot episode. We'd like to introduce ourselves and talk a little bit about how we met. What are our qualifications for doing a podcast?
I think what you're trying to say, what are my qualifications?
Oh, that's how we're going to...
Your training record's right here, though. So if you do well on this episode, we'll...
It's because I don't have a college education?
It's because you have a face for radio. So your future's looking bright, buddy.
Hey. And I'd kind of like to talk about America. And you know, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to me? I'd like to know what it means to our listeners.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into this.
Let's dive in.
I'd like to ask you how we met. Your version of it. And then after that, I'm going to go into my version.
I just remember I was at work and... got a phone call. I don't recall if you had called my line directly or if one of my troops passed the phone, whatever.
Probably called one of your
troops. I just remember, okay, this is a new guy who said he's supposed to be coming here within the next few months. You know, I don't mind talking to folks, letting them know what they're getting into or, you know, trying to feel them out. You know, what kind of activities are you into? Do you have a family, your children, that kind of thing. So I can kind of point them in the right direction and let them know, you know, maybe some of the fun things to do around here or where to live or what kind of nightlife there is or just whatever information I can help with. Talking to you on the phone for a little bit, and it was interesting. In my mind, I'm sitting here trying to figure out, okay, who is this guy? What section is he going to be going into? What kind of worker is he? Just, you know, all the things, because he's going to be coming to my unit. And I'm trying to figure it all out, and he's talking about hunting and fishing.
Which I have still not done either of those since I've been here. No, that's a lie. I fished once.
Again, trying to figure out who this guy is very interested in hunting and fishing, and he's coming to West Texas. Well, there's a few lakes nearby, you know. I mean, there's not a whole lot. I mean, I'm sure there is if you go looking for it. But as far as my knowledge base in this area, it's not a whole lot. And then I was getting ready to deploy. But yeah, it was very interesting. It was just a phone call. That's how we met. And then when I returned from my deployment, I had met you in person at the office.
When you came back from your deployment, what was your thoughts about me?
I mean, honestly, first and foremost, I was kind of shocked. I was like, oh, this is JT. Okay. He's definitely not the black guy that I thought I was talking to.
Right.
You know, who was asking questions about the local area and what kind of things to do and whatnot. But I'd love to hear your take on it. See if it's any different.
Real quick, what year was that?
I'd say the phone conversation happened in late 2012, and then I got back in the summer of 13.
Yeah, 13 is when I officially met you.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, my version's a little different. So, we had a phone conversation, but I have to do a little background before I get to the story. I was stationed up in Alaska for my very first duty station. And we used to work in a program, and we used to look people up in this system to see what they looked like, knew who we were talking to. Probably wasn't the right thing to do, but hey, we're young and dumb, and that's what we did. So I called, and I kind of joke around on the phone a little bit, kind of be a little creepy just to see their interactions. Coming from Alaska to Missouri, I was asking about sheep farms and cows and doing the whole... in the phone. And so anyways, I do my time in Missouri, and I request from the Air Force, hey, I want to go back to Texas, and they grant me access, and I get an assignment, and then I go out to West Texas. Well, before I get there, the Air Force has sponsors, and I'm sure every other branch has sponsors before you get there, because you kind of need somebody to show you around. Well, my sponsor was your troop. And so I made the phone call, and that's when you got on the phone I was like, oh, yeah, it's go time. Because I had already messed with your troop through email when she was sitting there saying, hey, I was born at the base you're at. And I wrote her back saying, I'm so sorry. So I'm sitting there on the phone with you. I'm like, okay, I'm just messing with this person. And I'm asking you about the fishing because I had already Googled everything, what to do in this town. And I'm like, let me see. I was like, got fishing places there. Yeah. We got a couple lakes around. There's 2 here in town and, some across, not too far away from the base. And you can go out. And I'm like, oh, does it have crappie in it? Catfish? Yeah, sure does. Yeah, okay, yeah. And I was like, all right, he's either 1, not fazed by it, or 2, he's not really getting it. Okay, so I'm gonna do my farm thing. So I'm on the phone. I'm like, got a lot of farms out there. Yeah, there's some farms out here. Do they have cows? Oh, right there. Well, anyways, so we'll we're excited to have you here, and
See,
you hung up on me.
I'm still not convinced that was me.
Yeah, no, that was you.
No, let's take your word for it.
And so when I got there, I was like, who was the individual I was talking to? Because I have to apologize to him. That was terrible. And they were like, oh, you talked to Cert V, and he's gone. And I was like, oh, dang. I was like, well, when he gets back, he's going to think I'm a weirdo, so whatever.
Well, and I mean, naturally, I think that, but...
Yeah. So I, through our mutual friend, was getting an idea of who you were, and then when I found out that through him that you actually had a sense of humor, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to apologize because that's funny.
Yeah.
So when we met, I guess I kind of forgot about the whole situation until years later when I was like, oh, wait a minute, you were the guy I was on the phone with.
Yeah, that's a cute story there, JT. How about you go ahead and tell us how you're qualified to even host a podcast?
I'm not. Next question.
Okay, yeah, next question. Moving on. So why don't you go ahead and tell us how you're qualified to host a podcast?
Well, it really depends on the subject, right? So I kind of like to think of myself as open-minded. One of the things I like to do is research a topic before discussing it, because I don't really want to be the ignorant person in the room or the dumb person in the room, when a subject's being discussed. So I kind of like to do research. Yeah, right now it seems to be you're either on one side or you're on the other, and it kind of seems like the middle person is out of the question.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like to be the middle person. I kind of like to see both sides of the story before I make my opinion.
Yeah.
What about you?
You want to be able to make an informed opinion or an informed decision.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of with everything, like with work or everything in life, you kind of just want to be informed.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm right there with you. It's kind of like when you get in an argument with somebody, right? They say there's 3 sides to the story. There's your side, their side, and then the truth.
Correct.
And you, to get or to form that informed opinion or decision or what have you, you have to look at all of those. So I think naturally there's going to be a little bit of bias, depending on how you were raised or maybe your current environment and, things that can leave an impression on you. You get those things, so you might be a little biased towards one side or the other. And then you have the other person or the other argument or the other fill in the blank. And it may be all the way on the other side with no wiggle room. Or like you said, nothing in the middle.
Yeah, it seems like the middle guys are, I don't know if they're just being more quiet or they're just trying to get the full story to make their opinion. So, because like you said earlier, there's 3 sides to every story. I've told my kids that from day one.
Mm-hmm.
There's three sides to every story. You have got to find the truth. There's going to be my side, someone else's side, and then the truth. I said it's not that I'm going to lie to you, but I'm going to give you my side of the truth. And I think that's with life. You know, it's just like my granddad always said, you know, believe nothing you hear and little you see.
I definitely agree. You know, you have to sometimes form your own. It's not always going to be laid out there. You know, hey, here's option A, B, or C. Which one do you want? Sometimes what you want or what you side with or agree with or think like isn't on the table. And I guess I'm kind of on the fence with the term or the saying, you know, my truth. Well, what's your truth? What's my truth? Well, my truth is blah, blah, blah. And the reason why I say on the fence is because it turns into somebody's opinionated feelings. You know, well, you hurt my feelings, so my truth is that, you know, whichever way I want the argument to go is the only way.
All right there, Snowflake.
Exactly. So I like to point out that there is the truth. And it's not always hard to see. You know, it's sometimes it's buried in there. Like you were saying in the very beginning, you know, you have to do your research. And similar to what your grandpa said, I had an uncle that told me to believe nothing you see on TV, half of what you read, and everything that you know to be true. And that really stuck with me. So I formed my own opinions. I able to start formulating my own ideas, making my own decisions, kind of paving the way for, hey, this is who I'm going to be, or this is who I am. And that's not to say that that's set in stone. You know, maybe that changes from time to time.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I have a question, and this is based off the qualifications. Have you and I ever disagreed on certain subjects?
Without getting you fired, you've never disagreed with me. I think that's the safest answer we can come up with right now.
All right. Well, I'm going to say yes. You and I don't agree on everything.
No, nor should we.
No. However, we have the discussion. And we have, at the end of the conversation, have told one another, well, let's agree to disagree.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's those discussions, those conversations that take place that help us grow.
Exactly.
Help us grow, whether it's in our friendship or professionally, and any part of the relationship, you know, because you're able to provide a perspective that I didn't see, or vice versa.
It's okay to disagree on a subject, but not to get your emotions into whatever it is you're talking about. That's the key. You and I both have had this conversation where you're more of the diplomat and I'm more of the punching you in the face first.
Well, I wouldn't call it a diplomat, maybe more of a wordsmith. How about that?
You're a politician and I'm an ignorant grunt who loves to punch people in the face.
And see, you label it that way, and I would say you can get your point across more tactfully, but you can still achieve what you were trying to achieve. You know,
I'm
kind
sure
of
you could
verbally slap someone, if you will.
Yeah, but I just don't have time for that. Those are my qualifications. I try to do research. I try to not throw emotions in. You know, seeing both sides of the stories, for me, is the best thing to do.
So I guess when it boils down to it, we can both agree that, you know, we don't all have to be on the same sheet of music.
No.
Or agree all the time.
Correct.
And we can celebrate our differences and still carry on.
And that actually is a great segue into the last subject, which is America. You know, what you said, it's, we can all have our own opinions, you know, but I'm going to be selfish and I'm going to tell you what America means to me. America isn't just the first, Second Amendment that is being popularized right now. America is a cesspool of everything. Good, bad, ugly.
Some people would call that a melting pot.
What did I call it? A cesspool?
Yeah, a cesspool.
Isn't that kind of the same thing? I'll have to look up the definition.
Tomato, glass half empty, half full. Either way. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, as you were.
All right, so America to me is a melting pot of everything. You know, every country, every civilization in the entire world has its own history, and America is not immune to the good and the bad. We've had great people come through this country, and we've had some really bad ones that have ran it and been in charge of things and whatnot. Can't dismiss it. But America is a dream. I love history, okay? I know America, a lot of its buildings and whatnot are based off of Greek and Romans, okay? We're nothing like that. We took an idea, a republic, democracy, that was Greece, and we turned it into something that was our own. And we built an empire like Rome, where we now touch every corner of the earth. And we're pushing Western ideas into places that probably need them, probably don't. Whatever. They have oil and gas and we need it. But America to me is the idea of being your own person, running your own life, not having anybody tell you what to do. Ultimately, I mean, there's laws. You got to follow laws. You can't go off and just murder somebody, okay? But as long as you follow the rules and follow the laws, then no big government, small government can actually tell you what to do, and you can run your life the way you want to. And that's just the greatest feeling in the world. I'm not saying other countries don't have it. I'm just saying other countries don't have it like us. Now, I've been all around the world, and every time I came home, there was no feeling like stepping back into your own country going, things are normal again. Instead of, well, I got to follow these rules and I can't say this, and I got to be on my P's and Q's, and nope. In America, if somebody comes up to me and says, I don't like your face, I can just go off and say, forget you, man, I don't have to listen to you. They, in the Middle East, were sitting there going, you looked at my woman and you got stoned, or my woman looked at you and she got stoned. That's not right. That's not right at all. But as an American in uniform, you can't step in and help. You can't step in and stop what's happening right in front of you.
Right. They have their culture. They have what they know.
Right.
And
there's
what they
nothing
practice.
you can do about it. Whether you believe it's right or wrong, there's nothing you can do about it. Now, if, say, somebody came over here and started doing that to somebody, we can step in. This is our country.
I agree with you. I think America is an idea.
It's a wonderful idea.
I think of, what was that movie? Fievel Goes West. Do you remember that movie?
I do remember that movie. I remember when that movie came out.
Oh yeah, and you know they're mice. They're from wherever. I don't remember if they're Jewish or what, but they were
somewhere over in Russia, weren't they?
Yeah, somewhere. But they were coming to America. He was going west, and it really paints that picture. You know, I mean, obviously it's a children's movie, cartoon, whatnot, but it paints that same picture. It's a melting pot. They're coming to the land of opportunity, you know, where they can work, they can start a business, they can have a home, family, whatever the case, and they're not going to be under persecution.
Right, exactly.
You know,
I mean, religion and all that.
I think the people here, not everyone obviously, but a lot of the people that attract the media's attention that disagree would have you believe, if you just listen to their words only, they would have you believe that, you know, America is a very oppressive, or the United States are a very oppressive place to be. And, you know, you're not allowed to have an opinion. You're not allowed to be different. You're not allowed to do anything because somebody's going to shut you down. And that's not the case. What are your final thoughts on what does America mean to you?
Final thoughts on what America means to me.
Do you think it's still the land of opportunity? Is it
100%? Land of opportunity, 100%. I think as long as you do everything the correct way and you come to this country the correct way and you build the life that you want to, nobody can stop you. Not me, not the government, not the federal government, not state, not local, not anybody. If you do it correctly, and you come to this country, it's the land of opportunity. It still is and will always be. As always, we'd like to say thank you for stopping by and listening to the podcast.
Yeah, we realized that you could have been doing anything way more productive, but you chose to waste your time with us.
We look forward to talking about absolutely nothing with you next time.
If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, please email us at
jtandrewshow@gmail.com or visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/JTDrewShow.